Dear all, good afternoon. I'm happy to see you back on our main stage. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kristina Tantsyura. I am the General Manager of NCC UAE company based in Dubai and working on the Middle East for the last 10 years. It is my honor to be a moderator for the roundtable discussion and networking. Today in the roundtable will participate Mr. Ibrahim Lari, Chairman and CEO of Sibca company, Mr. Georgy Mikaberidze, CEO of Rosinfocominvest, and Mr. Marco del Piero Piccozzi, Executive Partner of Piccozzi and Partners LLC. My dear speakers, please give a few words about yourself and companies while we are still receiving the new participants of our roundtable. Please go ahead. Mr. Ibrahim, we didn't hear you. Can you switch on the microphone one more time? Okay, George, Marco, please.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Very briefly, the Piccozzi Partners is the technology and business strategy consulting company headquartered in Singapore with representative offices in Dubai, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And we do deliver the strategy consultancies for organizations and government institutions, and specifically in the area of data science and market research, as well as the expansions in the areas of fintech, oil and gas, as well as the actual financial institutions specifically. And we've been operating for the last 15 years, and we have a network of professionals operating across these regions. And we've been active within the Middle East region for 12 years now. Currently, we living in Dubai, based in Dubai for 18 years.
Thank you very much, Mark. Mr. George.
Thank you, Kristina. Great to hear you again. Probably let me say a few words about Rosinfocominvest and actually Tech Global, because we are switching to the new brand name that will be used. Globally, it's Tech Global. We were created by the government of Russian Federation under the ICT Ministry. And we are aimed to provide clients worldwide with a single point of access to best technologies, knowledge from Russia. And we work with more than 100 Russian companies already in different fields. It could be like AI companies, like video analytics, smart and secure city solutions, different COVID technologies, like against COVID, helps dealing with COVID and post-COVID technologies, drones, different kind of anti-drones, because we know that there are many applications, for example, even for drones, for electricity line monitoring, for road monitoring, for vessel monitoring, different applications. Also, we have like IoT companies in our portfolio, because we understand that right now IoT is really booming, because all the infrastructure is equipped with IoT sensors and devices. Can provide solutions for digital education, and it could be both. It could be content and hardware that could be used for create the whole digital education concept and approach. And actually many other solutions in say, digital field that could help governments, companies to run the digital transformation, to implement these solutions into their operations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim. Is it?
Thank you. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, Kristina, for this opportunity. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Yes, this is Ibrahim Lari. I am the chairman and CEO of Sibca. We are into the life safety and IT solution business service provider within UAE and Bahrain. This is what we do. And we are delivering service in terms of the IT and solutions to our clients within the UAE.
Thank you very much. Now let's start our roundtable discussion. According to the Deep Knowledge Group report, which is called 100 Safest Country in the World for the COVID-19, United Arab Emirates are in the top 15 safest countries for COVID-19. The report was based on the quarantine efficiency, monitoring and detection, health readiness, and government efficiency. Obviously, this is the things to be proud for us who are living in the UAE. This is why people in the UAE are thankful for the government of UAE for the efforts in the fight against the global pandemic. And me personally, living in the UAE, saw all these efforts and very happy and proud to be part of these efforts. As His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum said, our country will be ready and we will recover soon. And I suggest to discuss right now what ICT, innovation technologies, and basically knowledges can help to the not only UAE country, but all countries to fight the COVID-19 faster and to come to the normal business situation, and how the COVID-19 pandemic changed our world and our demand for the ICT technologies. I will start with my first question. What do you think? How does COVID-19 affect the ICT industry? Who will be the first? Yes, please, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes, COVID-19, it's impacted everyone. I agree with you. And it's impacted every company, every citizens, the countries, our globe. But I believe exactly what you mentioned, that there are countries were ready for this. The UAE was one of them, like Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid mentioned, like Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed mentioned, that we are ready. And this is not just because we were ready for this COVID. This was, the country was ready because we invested it, as a country invested a lot in IT and technology in order to be always ready for any such situation that we could happen for us. Therefore, we could move fast. Of course, it did impact everyone. It did impact the companies. Of course, many companies got impacted. But using technology, the infrastructure that was based or available within the UAE, it decreased the much impact that everybody else had. Therefore, it made everybody's life a lot easier, and the impact was a much less than many other countries or around the world and many other companies. Therefore, I believe the ICT was the pillar or the reason that it helped and supported in the not to spread or not to impact the companies or the government very badly within the UAE.
Thank you very much. Mr. George, can you please give us the overview of the Russia?
Probably first I would like to say that COVID actually changed the reality. So right now, what it means that we live right now in a new reality that is actually different from what was before the COVID. What it means that the situation that is now will not come back to the stage that it was like 6-7 months ago. and the situation influenced all sides of the all the sides of the process. So it means that it changed the life of the citizens, it changed the life of the government, and changed the life of the business. And for all sides, different actions were, I would say, implemented, and it means that in case the situation will appear again, all sides will be prepared and make different actions to protect the next, protect themselves in the future. What it means that, for example, for the state, definitely there is a need to protect the citizens from situation again. So they should act actually fast and efficient. Second, they should continue providing state services. And what it means that in most of the cases, it will be digital services that will be continue, the state will be continue providing on a regular basis. Because during the current COVID time, in many countries, all the services were interrupted. And many other things. As for the business, definitely, like as a business owners, they will think about how to protect their business, how to probably automate their business, how to make it resistant to the situation that it was caused by the COVID for the future. And definitely for the citizens, they also understand that the situation is actually changing, and they also need to be protected, and they also need to be they need to resist the situation. Answering actually your question, Kristina, about how situation is in Russia, we saw the peak of the COVID disease in May, and right now, according to the official statistics, the number of cases is declining. And even, I would say, right in front of my office, there is a space of the expo center. And in May, they were bringing wheelchairs, they were building a hospital actually in the expo center. But they brought refrigerators probably for specific purposes, but none of this equipment were used. And like a few weeks ago, we saw that all of these like refrigerators, I would say they disappeared from here, and all of this space were not in use for the health purposes. Means that in Russia, we definitely expect by far more effect of the COVID, but due to the measures that are implemented, I would say we saw the impact on our lives, but it was not so, I would say, hard and probably damageable as we probably expected to be, as we saw like it was in different countries. And we see like gradually one region after another, they release, say not the sanctions, but some restrictions that they imposed on, I would say, regular daily operations. And actually today is a good day in Moscow because finally, for example, we can go to the restaurants and bars. Today they are officially open.
Thank you very much, George, and my congratulations to my native country, Russia, that they are starting to win in the fight of the COVID, and I hope that you will recover as fast as possible. The same like UAE has the very fast recovering from the COVID pandemic. My next question will be, what is the most difficult that government or companies meet during the COVID pandemic? What is what's most difficult for government and for the companies? Marco, maybe you will start?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Look, when it comes to COVID, COVID has basically transformed the way that services were delivered before. I mean, no doubt about it. But if you want to focus on COVID, I think COVID has definitely had an impact for an actual healthcare point of view. But if we really focus on what was the impact on COVID on the current society, businesses, and government, as you have asked, is really it created a real shock and an immediate shock on how to deliver services and the method of delivering these services to consumers and actually citizens. And if you think about it, the most impacted businesses or government institutions were the one who were in the front line to deliver a service to a consumer or a service to a specific citizen. That all of a sudden, that ultimate process was actually cut or was not delivered in the usual traditional way. Hence, the real businesses who are able and are currently able to actually come out from this for this impact, COVID or anything which may actually occur in the future, is really that the ability to actually transform and actually understanding that what their business model is and how the services are actually delivered to the end user, to the citizen, and to the consumer eventually, and understanding how this can be actually be delivered in a different way, or how it can be delivered in a way that the same level of revenue at the end of the day can be guaranteed for a business, or the same level of actually throughput from the citizen can be actually being delivered for a government or for a government services and so forth. So the real impact has been in an interaction of service, and I mean, no doubt about it, because obviously the look of the service and the method of delivering the ultimate service was definitely disruptive, and as I said, it had a shock impact. It happened immediately. It happened in a very drastic manner, and without allowing businesses to actually adapt to that. So businesses are really, and government have realized that to basically look at their processes and probably identify how to deliver those services and those processes in a much more agile and effective manner. And no doubt, I mean, technology here has been of a huge help, and it has definitely contributed to basically expedite this transformation for businesses and governments.
Thank you very much, Marko. George, Mr. Ibrahim, would you like to add something, or we go ahead with the next question? Okay. Let's go with the next question. ICT and COVID-19. What is the success stories of using IT technologies to fighting the COVID and to find the new way of using these IT solutions? I know that there was some interesting experience in Russia, in Moscow, about face recognition system to detect mask, and the same was in UAE done, but maybe you have other examples of such using IT technologies in the new way, or what definitely help to the government and companies in the current situation. Mr. George?
I would like to say that first, we, probably 6 months ago, governments understood that they face, I would say, a new challenge that was called COVID. And they started thinking what kind of solutions can be used to fight the COVID, and probably some of them can be used further on. For example, in Moscow, they tested the QR codes. So the way how they can limit the access to the people to different places, for example. It was, for the first day, definitely there was a problem. The second day it worked, and they reduced the number of people on the streets and the public places. Second, yes, it was a good chance for the video analytics or for video surveillance to show how it can work. And in Moscow, they piloted the system so that they could identify people who I would say, restricted or under the quarantine, should stay at home, but they're not sitting at home, they go somewhere, and these people were caught by the cameras. So people were understanding that since the cameras in Moscow are everywhere, so they can be detected and they will receive the fine. So it means that it's some kind of instruments how the system can actually manage the situation. And I think altogether people understood that that this situation has happened for the first time, but everybody should be prepared for the future, because I believe that such cases can appear in the future, and we should be prepared. And I think more and more solutions will be developed, and in order to prepare for the next wave or next case, government would create, I would say, the demand for such kind of solution. For example, a company that is called Promobot, they created the solution that the robot that goes through the public places and disinfects places automatically, so without a human. So will it be in use for the future? I believe yes. Or the company that made the presentation today, that was represented by ITPS Group, for example, they provide a solution for prediction of such cases. So it means that as soon as we understand that person is in dangerous phase in terms of whether he can be, he can get the disease like in 5-7 days. So before he can be placed in the hospital in advance, so and not to spread the virus. So it means that I think as soon as the new situation appears, it creates the new demand for the new solutions, and I think business will adopt their solutions and realize this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Josh. Mr. Ibrahim, can you share Sibca experience in fighting the COVID and how you use ICT solutions to help your customers and clients and to your company as well? Please switch on the audio.
Thank you. Yes, we at Sibca, exactly, it was a beginning, it was a little bit shock. It was an area that we wanted to find out how we can deliver the service and how much impact it has, this COVID-19 on our business, how to deliver service. But using ICT, your technology that's available today, and we did it, to be honest with you, it decreased a lot of the impact or negative impact. It became a positive impact. Like we try to utilize the technology to deliver service. People start delivering the similar service from home, remotely, and to the client as much as possible. Therefore, almost all our services that we provide that did not require personal presence at site or at locations, we use technology, and it worked very well. And that did impact it, even looking forward in the future, how we can continue utilizing this type of service going forward. Therefore, overall, everybody, like, just as everybody, like Marco and George mentioned, that the country was ready. Everybody tried to use the technology, whether to be for education, for healthcare, for every area. That technology supported this type of, during this pandemic, supported the business in order to decrease the impact of this business, this pandemic on the business.
Yes, if I can make a comment, that this is very important, because obviously having a country that is ready means that it's not just ready, technologically, but also as a mindset. And what I found that here there is there are industries and customers who are very matured and have really accepted the new paradigm of how to interact. And as Ibrahim said, it's been actually an advantage somehow to be able to interact in using technology in the way that we are right now. And so it has already eliminated a lot of red tapes of having to meet and discuss things discussions are really focused on the actual subjects, and interactions are much quicker, much easier, and then and the follow-ups can be actually provided much easier. So even our customers expect that as soon as a meeting or a discussion is finished, that the information and materials is provided, not even in the standard way, but in a much more effective digital way, in a form of whether it is a demo or a video or a presentation material and so forth. So it has really unlocked the ability to interact in a much more faster and actually dynamic way. And also, as George mentioned, the new technology have been introduced to fight COVID, but we also see customers who have actually taken this as an opportunity on how to leverage on this new technological medias, like for example, robots who are there in order to tackle requirements for disinfections and compliance around COVID, but people are already, I'm not saying forgetting about COVID, but they want to move on and really perhaps using that robot also for welcoming customers, directing them, giving them advisory, using the face recognition to identify their customers and really build the retention and closeness with them, and really offer value-added services. And I think the whole society, and particularly societies like regionally, the UAE, have really been responding to this situation, and really learn to actually move on and find the opportunities. And while obviously accepting the fact that a lot of people have been affected, and unfortunately there have been some obviously tragic stories about it, but a way to move on and help society to actually remain safe and protected, but also enhances and move into the next wave of evolution for businesses and government services.
Thank you very much, Marco. Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim. We have a question from our audience. So, many conventional businesses around the world got impacted by lockdown and could not cope with the sudden needs to shift 100% to online shop. On the other hand, those who are e-commerce native benefited from the situation, especially big and well-known e-commerce platforms. What advice you can give to small retail physical shops who were struggling to do business during the lockdown? What sort of easy strategy they should take? Please.
Can I answer the question?
Please.
You know that I want to answer the question using one example with my past job experience. Like probably more than 10 years ago, I was working even 20 years ago, I was working in a publishing house that was publishing magazines and newspapers. And at that time, we had an understanding that in some period of time in the future, our business will decline. We did not know how fast it will decline, what will be, but we started preparing to this. And we started thinking about online, we started thinking leveraging our risks, we started investing into digital. For the first time, it was small investment because we were looking for the models. And definitely as soon as, for example, crisis 2008 has happened, we understood that we were, I would say, not absolutely prepared, but we were have a strategy that we started implementing. And coming back to what is the outcome of this? We understand that some businesses probably will out of the business in the future. For example, 20 years ago, it was quite popular to make physical prints of the photos. Right now, it's not very popular anymore. And what advice I can give to the real shop owners, of the real small shop owners? You understand that your business is, I would say, vulnerable to such kind of situation, but you have quite a big advantage in comparison with the big players. So because you are located close to some neighborhood, And what you can do is definitely you can deliver something faster than all the big players because you are close to them. You can probably set different baskets of goods and you can bring and deliver them to the customers that lives around you. And I have even the friend of mine in Krasnodar, they did exactly the same because they understood that offline business doesn't work anymore. They have channels to grab the food, to grab some other stuff that is needed for the residential areas, and they started delivering these products to the customers. And during the COVID time, from zero, they increased their business like to several hundred to several million rubles is several, no, I'm saying to $100,000 from zero to, and they right now thinking about shutting down their offline shop, offline small shop, and continue increasing the delivery of the baskets to the end consumers. And it was like, they said that before they even didn't thought about it, but as soon as the situation has happened, they understood that they need to do something. What is their advantage? Because they are close to the customers, they can deliver it, and they did it. So they grew like significantly.
Thank you very much. I have also very nice example in the UAE. There is the very popular Russian restaurant called Berezka. And when the pandemic, COVID situation started and lockdown in Dubai happened, the delivery service like Delivery, Talabat and others, they do not allow to the restaurants deliver, they allow to deliver only in the certain area. But the clients of Berezka was located across around the Dubai. And what they do, they use their staff who are not involved in the kitchen to deliver the orders. And what they also to do, not to deliver the hot food, they prepare all needed ingredients and you can order and cook by yourself. And they also open on YouTube the video education, how you can cook it. So you can order the ready to eat food, but if you are not sure about time when you would like to eat it, you can order the set of the needed ingredients and cook it when you will need it at your own home. So you have not only the food, but the fun as well. And it became very popular. And they operate just through WhatsApp and Instagram without any connection to the huge e-commerce platform. So I think for the small shops, yes, I totally agree. They need to look around and to connect to have the deep connection with their client. In this case, they could help and they could survive, and they do not need to fight with the big e-commerce platform. They just need to find their niche to operate faster, and because they know their clients, they could better meet their needs. Anyone would like to add?
Exactly. An example, like you said, is that I have also a real example. I own an application, it's an online application called Sibca. This application is developed mainly for delivering supermarket services to the clients. This application was growing organically, slowly, but with this pandemic, our application is very unique because everybody can connect, or all the small businesses, small shops, supermarket, they can use this application and we can deliver their services to the consumers. Therefore, the growth was tremendous, and the requirement for many small shops that they could not deliver, or they tried, or they are using now our application in order to be able to connect or to deliver their services to their client, and that is also working very well. Therefore, I believe that, like you mentioned, the advice is that the COVID-19 changed a lot of things in life. I mean, and everybody's saying that the before COVID is not after, after is not before, is all changes happened. Therefore, everybody has to adapt to the new way of doing business rather than stay the way. Therefore, the old way, I don't think it will continue sustainable. Now everybody has to know how to adapt, especially using technology to going forward.
Yes, and one of the things that obviously came out is, as we all mentioned, I don't know if you notice, what has changed is, and where businesses and institutions need to adopt is the two keywords which we will keep repeating here is connectivity, connections with the customers, with the end user and so forth, and delivery. So delivery methodology, how things are delivered differently, and how can you connect now where you were not able to connect in the usual way, you know? And so these are the key things. I mean, the COVID has really created a breaking point on these two way of delivering, the way of connecting, and whoever managed to find and is currently able to find a new way to connect in a different way, to deliver in a different way, believing that the product is still relevant, is still of quality, and is still needed, it will be able to actually sustain and build a resilient business, I believe.
Marco, thank you very much. We have one more question from our audience. What do the participants of the discussion think about the recent AI-based recommendation system that are able to determine whether chemical compounds have antiviral activity and select the most promising drug candidates? And what do the participants of the discussion think about the system that can help the doctors with the appointment of the pharmacotherapy, helping to reduce medical errors? And how much can such Russian solutions be in demand in the UAE? I think this question, first of all, to Mr. Mark and Mr. Ibrahim, because you know the situation in the UAE better. Please.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I was not clearly understood. I mean, but okay, I understood that, okay, the technology or the today in the UAE, the healthcare sector, it's very well ready. It was ready and supporting and using the latest, again, technology to support the patient and decreasing the impact of COVID-19 on human life and on human. And that was our success story. Of course, everybody, many countries, they are working on the vaccination or the treatment or medications that can help, but still anything to be seen or to be used, I think it takes some more time. But for today, I think UAE as a government, they did every possible way to utilize the best technology and medication available around the world to decrease the fatality and the impact of COVID on the human life. This is from my point of view.
Thank you very much.
This
Marco?
is definitely absolutely. I mean, it's if I may say, obviously, there are three main phases within the COVID. One was obviously the detection, which is currently underway, and there are technologies coming out and helping that. And maybe George can actually tell more about the specific Russian technologies. But detection is one. Now we're entering the actual containment phase, where obviously our governments and the country is helping us citizens and businesses to be safe. And then we will return into the actual prevention and be able to obviously understand how can we avoid or how can we actually predict possibly and contain and mitigate the risk of potential new waves or other types of pandemics of any sort. So regarding the actual technology and the mention about AI, there are many technologies obviously coming out, and more are actually are positioned in one way or the other in order to prevent and mitigate or even detect COVID-19. We are lucky that in the UAE we are following a very very strict and proactive approach on how to evaluate these technologies and making sure that they are actually relevant and the most effective in order to actually prevent and contain the current, the current scenario. So yeah. Marco,
thank you very much. We also have one rising hand. Let's give possibility to speak. Mr. Dmitry, please go ahead.
Hi, Kristina. Yeah, I just wanted to add for the previous question, but nothing.
Yes, please, it's okay.
Yeah, when we discussed the solution, the recommendations for the current small medium enterprises and big corporates, like what they can do for the current situation, and also taking into consideration some ideas which we discussed with Marco, we see here maybe three key directions where maybe companies could work on. First of all, it's delegate the standard human-based analytical, maybe to the computer vision, like for retail, especially for the restaurants. I do believe that would be also very useful. The second direction where you can see, and also considering Russian use cases, it's the contactless solutions. You mentioned the delivery, contactless delivery, which became very popular over the last 3 months. Contactless payments, yeah, to avoid any personal interaction with the cards and with the POS terminals, either to use like wallets, NFC, or maybe even your biometric features using different computer vision companies, like we mentioned the Ente Club, other face recognition company. They offer like the Smile or Face to Pay solution. Here also I can add the biometric access control system, which becoming more and more popular, and you can also integrate the temperature detection models into this biometric access control system, and we see a huge growth of such kind of project in Russia, and I can tell you that I receive more and more demand from the Middle East market as well for such kind of system where people can enter the building or pass the entrance just using their face or other biometric feature, skipping the standard ID cards. And the first direction where I do believe that this COVID-19 and quarantine speed up people and businesses to implement different automatization solutions, like business process automatization, robotic processing, robotic processes automatization solutions, and other. And here, yes, if you have any ideas or you would like to explore your partners or the participants, we can also brainstorm together with our partners and to offer maybe some solutions from our pipeline, since we're working on some requests at this moment with you, with the global. Yeah, this is the three directions where I can see the all businesses from SME up to the big corporates could keep an eye on.
Thank you very much, Dmitry. We also have the rising hand from Mr. Mohammed Al-Zaruni. Please, you can speak.
Thank you so much, Kristina. And I would like also to thank all the panel members for their contribution to this nice panel discussion. It's just a compliment rather than a question. I think all of the nations around the world are moving towards digital transformation. I think the pace of digital transformation or the pandemic forced many nations to accelerate their movement towards digital transformation. This is happened in a very sudden manner, but I think many of the businesses starting to realize that the way how to move forward, or the new norms, I would say, is to offer all their services and products using digital technology. In the United Arab Emirates, I mean, as a consumer, I've noticed that when the lockdown started to happen, businesses who were ready, they couldn't find difficulties and challenging in offering it because they are actually tech savvy and they're digitally native by nature prior to COVID-19. However, those who were, came late into the game, they were struggling a little bit at the beginning, but I believe that with all of the supporting services around the digital economy, for example, delivery system, logistics, e-commerce platforms, these could somehow help them to speed up the digital transformation. What I noticed that because of the huge demand when it comes to conventional brick-and-mortar store, like for example supermarkets, I mean like hypermarkets and these things, some of them they were not, or they were underestimating the power of e-commerce, and hence their application at the beginning was not that much good when it comes to user experience. Many applications were having the difficulties to accept so many traffic, but eventually I think things are getting better and they realize that they need to scale up, and at the same time they were maybe they sought an expert, or they brought an expert in e-commerce to help them to improve their services online, and there is no shame in this one. I think this is an experience that everyone would appreciate. I think everyone will learn from it. If God forbid, if there is any new kind of nature that happened in the future, I think many of the businesses would be in much better shape to react and respond to such need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. And we are going to finish our roundtable. I will ask the final question for everybody. And during this, I will kindly ask the participants to answer some questions that you will see on the screen. Okay? So we start our polls. And dear speakers, just in 5 words, 3 technology, ICT, innovation, knowledge, whatever, what you think will be the key trends in after pandemic world, and office or remote working, education, living. Please. Mr. Ibrahim, 3 key technologies, and what do you prefer? Office or remote working, office or remote education, and in terms of your personal life, how do you like more?
I mean, the remote is nice, it has its own benefits and pros and cons. Again, office, you cannot, but I will believe it will not be either office or remote. It will come back as a mix. People will use remote in a many areas, and we will, as a company, we will benefit from it. And I believe it did a beautiful impact on our business remotely, but at the same time, we will go office. Therefore, it will be a mix between both.
Thank you very much. Mr. George.
You know that COVID-19 actually stressed the quite obvious thing to work from the office. But I want to give you an example of New York. Actually, New York probably the last 3 years has created a new habit that people on Friday work from home. So, and it started from probably with some companies, but it has distributed to quite a big number of companies, and people really like the approach when they work from Monday to Thursday in the office, and Friday they work from home. And definitely we understood that our balance, actually work-life balance before, was towards the work, and with ability to work from home definitely gives some advantages, and we can shift this balance to our lives. But at the same time, for everyone, this balance is a bit different. Somebody would definitely prefer to work at home. Some people would like to socialize, to change the say the place, not like to sit on one table working, then the same table having lunch or dinner, and then in the evening like having like educational sessions, for example. So it means that to change some reality and some picture before their eyes. And we will see how it will change. I think definitely the demand for the offices will reduce, because many people understood that they can work from home. But for us, the companies who can provide digital solutions, I think this is a good challenge, because as soon as new reality creates new demand, especially for track monitoring of the people who work from home, like different IT secure solutions, because if people work from home, they also need to be protected. Like if company information should be protected. And how I said, like new time creates the new demand, and new challenges and new demand. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, Marco.
Yeah, as far as the actual technologies that you've been asking, I think that the ones that we will see growing faster is, which has already been mentioned on is as we contactless technology, anything which allows to less contact, irrespective of which range of the spectrum. So contactless technology definitely. Image recognition will have a big growth. Because we are as human visual predominant, so anything that can enhance that experience and the recognitions of imagery, that will definitely grow faster. And business process automation, robotic process automation in specific cases. But that will definitely be an area of focus and growth by all means. Remote working. Well, I personally am a big advocate of not say remote working for the sake of people, because I think organizations start realizing of remote functions. So they were disrupted because people were supposed to work from home and deliver a service or a function which they were not able to do. So organizations are looking at how they can deliver that function, and they are realizing that delivering something remotely using business process automation, digitally, through an app, through a bot, etc. And they will maximize the efficiency of how they can use the workforce and human. So remote delivery, remote office will definitely be a trend. And be advocate. I mean, we can say we could be against it as people, of course, but the optimization of resources and people would definitely happen, and a remote working would be more and more of a trend, also for resilience, a business continuity of specific organizations.
Thank you very much, Marco. Thank you very much, my speakers. It was great honor and pleasure to be a moderator of such interesting and I hope fruitful discussions. I hope our participants like this roundtable. And we are finishing right now. I want to add to all participants that the material will be published on the website of the business mission. We will share the links Also, you will have possibility to download videos and presentations from this event, and we will also make the follow-up and contact you directly in case you will fill the form and request such contact on the website. Thank you very much. Please, my speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristina. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for the event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.